Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Chapter number 1, Wali-ul-Asr, or Immediate God. O Nasareen of the Wali-ul-Asr, the sacred attribute of our great emperor is under discussion, which is even known to our children. But the hidden and enlightened facts may only be known to the mystics or wise scholars. This auspicious attribute is named Reverend Emperor or Wali-ul-Asr. Friends, there are many aspects of this blessed attribute and several lectures may be delivered on it. But presently, I would like to talk about only one of its important aspects. You may know that this attribute is a combination of two compound nouns. That is, it's composed of a combination of two words, spiritual guide, Wali, and present era, Asr. Here the general meaning of these words will be discussed first. As it is generally known that Wali means guardian, ruler, and possessor, while Asr means the present age or the existing era. Whether it is past age or the present era, we see that it has the status of the present age or existing era for someone. Because time has a time beam and it has a length from eternity to eternity. But the man keeps dividing time into three parts by associating a specific time point with himself. The part of the time that has passed is called the past, and the part of time which is flowing in front of someone is called the present, and whatever is yet to come is called the future. And after that, a person defines these three periods according to his own need. Each person has its canvas of thinking, and the same person gives these three periods, past, present, future, different meanings as needed. It is up to him to decide what he means by that time. That is, either he takes the past as the ancient past millions of years ago, or the immediate past just a few years ago, or he takes it as the last few seconds of the present age. In the same way, everyone changes the canvas of his thinking about the present and the future according to his needs. Sometimes he refers to the current century as the present age, and sometimes he refers to the current few seconds as the present age. But when we refer to Imamat, the progenies of the Holy Prophet, and Wilaya, that is guardianship, then the Wali-ul-Asr is the one who has the status of the Wilayat-e-Ilahiyya, that is divine guardianship or government. Because there are 12 eras of Wilaya, that is guardianship, and we have got 12 Imams, and the number of Wali-ul-Asr is also 12. Each Imam with his physical appearance was also Wali-ul-Asr in his age during his respective period of Wilaya, that is guardianship. From 10th Hijrah to 40 Hijrah was the period of the Imamat of Amir-e-Kainat, and during this period he was Wali-ul-Asr. From 40th to 50th Hijrah was the period of Imam-e-Hasn Mujtaba as Imam, and during this period he was Wali-ul-Asr. Then from 50 Hijrah to 61st Hijrah remained the period of the Imamat of Karim-e-Karbala, and he was Wali-ul-Asr during that time. Then from 61st Hijrah to 95 Hijrah, great emperor Imam Zainul Abidin remained Imam, and he was also Wali-ul-Asr during that time. Then from 95 Hijrah to 114th Hijrah was the period of the Imamat of Reverend Emperor Imam Muhammad Baqir, and he was also Wali-ul-Asr of the same era. Then from 114th Hijrah to 148th Hijrah was the period of Imamat of the Reverend Emperor Imam Jafar-e-Sadiq, and during that time he remained Wali-ul-Asr. Thus, this sequence continued and gradually reached 260 Hijrah, and since then our emperor of the age is our Wali-ul-Asr. We will talk more about the word Asr later. Friends, let's proceed with the topic. Mystics or men of wisdom firmly believe that Allah Almighty is the Wali-ul-Asr of the sacred family, clad in the veil of monotheism and prophethood as it is ordained in the Holy Quran. Innama waliyakumullahu wa rasulahu wallazina amanullazina yuqimunus salata wa yutunaz zakata wa hum rake'un. Surah Maida, verse number 55. Allah says, "No one but Allah is your wali or guardian, and his messenger is wali or guardian. And also those sacred people who are believers and maintain their prayers and offer zakat when going before Allah, they are wali or guardian." Mystics or men of wisdom find that the above mentioned verse indicates that there are three levels of wilaya or guardianship. In the first degree, Allah Almighty is the wali of the great emperor, the Holy Prophet. In other words, Allah is the immediate wali of the Holy Prophet. No doubt, Allah is also the wali of others, but not the immediate one. In the second level, the Holy Prophet, the leader of both the worlds, himself is the wali of the sacred family. Indeed, he is also the wali of others, but not the immediate one. In the third level, the sacred and chaste family of the Holy Prophet is the wali and serve as the wali of the whole Islamic world. And if we include the hadith in this argumentation, in which the Holy Prophet once said, "Awwaluna Muhammad wa awsatuna Muhammad, akhiruna Muhammad wa kulluna Muhammad," the first one among us to come to this material world is Muhammad, and the one who comes in the middle is Muhammad, and last one to come is also Muhammad, and we are all Muhammad. It is revealed that wilaya or guardianship has got only two levels instead of three. First, Allah Almighty is the wali who is the ultimate wali of the first divine light known as Nur-e-Awwal. And secondly, this first divine light or Nur-e-Awwal is the Wali-ul-Mu'mineen or guardian of the believers and is also the immediate God of the whole humanity. And the establishment of the leadership of wilaya or guardianship of the progenies of the Holy Prophet is related to their internal affairs. It has to do with the attitudes between them which have nothing to do with the Muslim Ummah. If there is something reserved for us, it is unique wilaya of the first divine light, Nur-e-Awwal, or the progenies of the Holy Prophet, and of course, this wilaya is divine. It means whosoever denies the wilaya of any individual of this first divine light, Nur-e-Awwal, it is as if he has denied the wilaya of Muhammad, and denial of his wilaya is equal to the denial of divine wilaya or wilaya of Allah Almighty. And he who acknowledges the wilaya of the first divine light, Nur-e-Awwal, acknowledges the wilaya of Muhammad, the leader of both the worlds, and the wilaya of Allah Almighty. Friends, when the concept of Wali-ul-Asr is established, then two aspects of it come to the fore. First, theoretical or ideological and doctrinal aspect. Second, practical aspect. Friends, here we are talking about the aspect other than the earlier ideological and doctrinal aspect. On the contrary, I would like to say that the field of wilaya is very vast for discussion. If we talk about wilaya, it will take many decades because all the virtues can be proved by the Wilaya-e-Asr or wilaya of the age. Nowadays, all the contentious issues among the Shiites can be resolved through this Wilaya-e-Asr or wilaya of the age. And all the differences of opinion with other schools of thought in the Islamic world can be resolved with the same wilaya of the age. And all the objections can be answered concerning this wilaya. This topic can also be discussed from moral, philosophical, political, sociological, economic, and scientific perspective. And by talking about the mystical and spiritual aspect of it, those mysteries can be resolved which even no believing examiner can afford to unfold, but whom the progenies of the Holy Prophet choose to reveal. Friends, 12 different aspects can be discussed on the topic of the sacred attribute, that is Wali-ul-Asr and Wilayat-Asr. But today we want to talk about that aspect of this blessed attribute that is related to our duties and our attitudes. Preaching religion in the language of action. Friends, the whole material life of the sacred family, clad in the veil of monotheism, is a living example for the believers. They taught us religion every moment of our life. Both verbally and in deeds, they have explained what religion is. Their minute physical actions and attitudes, that is, getting up, sitting down, sleeping, waking up, eating, drinking, etc., was a true lesson for us. Their arrival in this material world, childhood, boyhood, youth, old age, and martyrdom all served as a living lesson for us. They consumed their material life in this world by teaching us what true religion is. Friends, here question arises as to what religion it was that they taught us. What was the religion that they have conveyed to us through their attitudes in their outward life? The answer is that religion teaches us how to behave and devote ourselves to our sole honor, that is our Wali-ul-Asr. Our faith demands how we can offer nusra to our immediate God, what sacrifices we can offer to our Wali-ul-Asr or immediate God, and how and in what aspects can we offer nusra to our immediate God. This is where the true religion of nusra begins. Friends, it must again be noted that Allah Almighty is the immediate God of the sacred family, clad in the veil of monotheism and prophethood, and our immediate God is these very sacred personalities. Finally, now it can be asserted that the true faith is to keep a positive attitude toward our immediate God. Infidelity, polytheism, discord, and falsehood are those negative attitudes that we practice in our relations with our immediate God. The sacred family, clad in the veil of monotheism and prophethood in this material world, have practically preached the same religion which prevents us from negative attitudes. Sayyid Ali bin Taus, branded as Lisan-e Muhammad, that is speaking the language of the sacred progenies of the Holy Prophet, once quoted that in the Holy Quran there is an outward call for monotheism and prophethood, but inwardly there is a call for wilayah. Friends, I was saying that the sacred family, clad in monotheism and prophethood, has taught us how to behave with our immediate God and in what services we can render to Him and what can be done for Him. This is the religion of Nusra, the religion of truth, and the religion of Islam. Friends, you know that in every age, the complete manifestation of divine wilayah of Allah Almighty and wilayah of Muhammad is among the first divine light, Nur-e-Awwal, or progenies of the Holy Prophet. As in the time of the leader of both the worlds, that is the Holy Prophet, his being was the sole honor of the absolute divine wilayah. After that, as the formal announcement on Ghadir-e-Khum, a place between Makkah and Medina, was made, this absolute divine throne of wilayah was transferred to Amir-e-Kainat. After this, the process continued honorably, and presently our emperor of the age is the sole representative of the first divine light, or Nur-e-Awwal. He is our Wali-ul-Asr and Wali-ul-Mu'mineen, that is, guardian of the believers. Friends, the 14 infallibles, or Chaharda Masumeen alayhimus salatu wassalam, have taught us the religion that whatever they have done for their Wali-ul-Asr, that is Allah Almighty, we must at least do for our Wali-ul-Asr, because if we do not do this, then our religion will not be an absolute one. Friends, the sacred family spent their whole life in this material world only for the establishment of the oneness of Allah Almighty and only in obedience to Him, because Wali Atati, that is, those who will obey their Wali, have also been mentioned, who are 3 in number. Atiullahi wa Rasulihi wa ulul amri minkum. First come to the obedience of Allah Almighty, whom the Holy Prophet obeyed. Then comes the honor of both the worlds, the Holy Prophet, whom the sacred family obeyed. And now it is imperative for those who believe to obey the sacred family. Complete obedience to Allah Almighty, the Exalted One, for the first divine light, or Nur-e-Awwal. Complete obedience to the one and only absolute first divine light of Allah, Nur-e-Awwal, or the progenies of the Holy Prophet for all humanity. Friends, if we want to know the true religion, then we have to do a critical analysis of the sacred lives of the holy beings. We have to concentrate on their attitude and actions in their lives, what they have done for their absolute Wali, that is Allah Almighty. And if we cannot do all that, then at least we must pay some part of it for our Wali-ul-Asr, so that we may walk on the path of truth. Brief view. If we study and review the whole ideal life of these lofty and sacred beings, we will find that none of the sacred beings ever demanded anything from anyone. Whenever they asked for something, they asked their immediate God, that is the Holy Prophet. Here is a lesson for us. Whatsoever we have to ask for, we have to ask our immediate God, that is our Wali-ul-Asr. If we have to ask for wealth, if we have to ask for healing and health, if we have to ask for life and children, we must ask our Wali-ul-Asr for all these things. We must ask our Wali-ul-Asr for everything we need to know about creation and interpretation. If we have to ask for this material world and the hereafter, we have to ask for it from our Wali-ul-Asr, because our Wali-ul-Asr has taken Sharia matters from his Wali-ul-Asr, that is the Holy Prophet. Similarly, we have to get it all from our Wali-ul-Asr, because Allah Almighty has also said that we have nothing to do with Him in this matter. وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ. Take what my sacred beloved gave you and refrain from what he forbid. He has taken assistance from his immediate God in Takwini matters, or the matters of the creation of the universe. Takwini matters are related to kun fayakun, which means be and that becomes. And that we have been taught that if we want to take assistance in Takwini matters, or the matters of creation of the universe, we must take it from our Wali-ul-Asr. Only Holy Prophet has shown us by asking Allah, and has taught us that whatever we have to ask, we must ask it from our Wali-ul-Asr. And whatever we have to give others, we have to give it concerning our Wali-ul-Asr. The center of the axis of the Holy Prophet's life has been his Wali or guardian, that is Allah Almighty. And we have been taught that our deeds and actions, prayers and words, movements and settlements should be centered on our Wali-ul-Asr. We must stick to the motto of living for Him and ultimately dying for Him. We have to dedicate even our sleep and waking up, our all sorrows and joys, to our Wali-ul-Asr. This same attitude was maintained by his companions and achieved the grandeur of life. Friends, the companions of the Holy Prophet and saints miserably bore tyrannies, but they sacrificed all this not for the sake of Allah Almighty, but for the greatness and glory of the Holy Prophet, because he was their immediate God. The sacrifice of Asadur Rasul was not for Allah Almighty, rather it was a sacrifice for his sacred beloved, that is the Holy Prophet, because he was his immediate God. And it is also a fact that whatever is done for the Holy Prophet is also meant for Allah Almighty. His obedience is obedience to Allah. His love is love for Allah. His nusra is Allah's nusra. His honor is Allah's honor. His way is for the sake of Allah, because the attitude that is maintained with Wali-ul-Asr is the same as that which is with Allah, the Exalted One. As you know, when Jesus Christ said to his followers, Man Ansari, that is, who is our Nasir, offering nusra, so the answer was something like this: Qal al-Hawariyuna nahnu ansarullah. His followers entreated that they were Allah's Ansar, offering nusra, because they knew that allegiance to Allah is in fact allegiance to immediate God. Realistically speaking, immediate God's attitude with their subordinates is not a personal one, but it is branded as the attitude of Allah Almighty, because they knew that nusra being offered to immediate God is in fact nusra which is offered to Allah Almighty. For the sake of reminder, I will repeat here again and again that whatever the sacred members of the divine family, clad in the veil of monotheism and prophethood, did for Allah Almighty, we have to do the same for our immediate God, that is Imam. This is the soul of true religion. Now we have to see what sacrifices the sacred family, clad in the veil of monotheism and prophethood, rendered for their immediate God, and how they did it, and in what ways they performed the noble deeds. We have to follow this roadmap over and over again. Friends, the sacred family said in their prayers, O our Lord, you are each and everything to us. You are our prayers, our fasting, our worship, our probation, our life, and our death. You are our destination, our guide, and our true path. And these things have not been verbally claimed. The sacred family have proved it in action throughout their lives. Likewise, the reverend emperor of our era is our immediate God. We must tell him that he is our sole honor, that is our prayers and fasting, our divine worship, our probation, our life and death are at his disposal. He is our true path, guide and destination. And above all, this is not to be limited to mere verbal claims, but to be proved by action throughout life, emotions and inclinations. Friends, the sacred family's whole emotions and inclinations, that is love, hate, generosity, indignation, grace, wrath, giving wisdom, disbursing, etc., were meant for their immediate God, that is Allah Almighty. If the sacred family got infuriated with someone, they just did it for the sake of Allah Almighty. Even they expressed their love just for the sake of Allah Almighty. If we observe in the battle of Ahzab, when Umro bin Abdu, the accursed one, was dropped on the ground by Amir-e-Kainat and climbed on his chest, he spat on the ground to express his hatred. As that accursed man committed this heinous act, Amir-e-Kainat immediately got down from his chest. The accursed man asked Amir-e-Kainat why he had got down. He replied that he had no personal grudge with him, and he was going to condemn him to hell just for the sake of Allah Almighty. As that accursed man spat, Amir-e-Kainat felt lest his personal grudge should not dominate in killing him, and he spared his life. Then he peeped into his divine heart to trace some personal cause of his anger, but the case was not so. He got the answer from within, that he wanted to condemn that damned man to hell purely for the sake of Allah Almighty. Then he seized that man and condemned him to hell. Following the example set by Amir-e-Kainat, we must develop enmity with anyone purely for the sake of our immediate God, without letting our grudges intrude into our hearts. In other words, our infuriation and anger must be subject to the will of our immediate God. Friends, if the sacred family showered love on someone, it is only for the sake of Allah Almighty. As the princess of both the worlds, Sharikat al-Hussein, Salawatullah alayh, asked her father, Amir-e-Kainat, if he loved her beloved daughter, Amir-e-Kainat answered that she was very dear to him. After hearing this, she said to her father that he loved her not for the sake of fatherly attachment, but because of the will of Allah Almighty. Again, here is a great lesson for us. Our love for our children must not be based on personal emotional reasons, and parental love must be subordinate to the supreme will of our emperor of the age. Of course, the stronger the relationship with the emperor of the time, the stronger our love should be for him. And we must be hostile to his enemy, even if he is our brother or father. In other words, we must negate ourselves and our self-interest and make our Wali-ul-Asr the access of our life. When we recite ziyarat, the same recognizance is taken from us. We are asked to read out, "We are at war with those who are at war with the sacred family, and we are in love with those who are in love with the sacred family." A famous example of the Battle of Siffin may be quoted here. A warrior from the side of the Syrians went ahead and challenged on the battlefield. A young man got out of the army of Amir-e-Kainat and took permission to counter the warrior. Both the combatants were not recognizable as they wore helmets. As they attacked each other with their spears, the spear of the Syrian warrior got deep inside the young man's chest and he fell from his horse. As he fell to the ground, his helmet fell off. The Syrian warrior recognized that the young follower of Amir-e-Kainat was his son. He rushed to his son, took his head in his lap, and begged pardon for not recognizing him. After hearing this, the Nasir of Amir-e-Kainat said, "Father, you didn't recognize me, but I did recognize you, and that I had nothing to do with my master's enemy. And if I could, I would have stabbed you in the chest even after recognizing you." The lesson we derive from this incident is that our emotions of love and anger must be subject to our Wali-ul-Asr. We must love those who love him, and we must consider his enemy as our own. We have nothing to do with the person who is not obedient to Wali-ul-Asr. Whosoever is the enemy of our Wali-ul-Asr, we must consider him as our enemy. It is prohibited to develop a grudge with the person even if he is our enemy, because the true followers of the immediate God make friends and develop a grudge with anyone only for the sake of their Wali-ul-Asr. Friends, I have given you a principle, the key that whatsoever the divine sacred family members did for their immediate God, ultimately we have to do for our immediate God. Generally, our immediate is the whole divine sacred family, but specifically our immediate is the emperor of the era. Now it depends on our insight into how deep it penetrates and what it can explore. The divine guideline will automatically be revealed gradually as you follow the discipline strictly and principally. Here I address some very important issues so that the message may easily be comprehended, being regardless of rank and position. Friends, when we observe what the first divine light, that is the Holy Prophet, has done for his absolute Wali, that is Allah Almighty, so the first thing we learn is to give up our status. We see him who is the first divine light of Allah, that is the Holy Prophet, who is Allah's solitude, is full of his glory and blessings. His first divine light preferred to dress himself up in the human body among the humblest human beings like us, just to introduce Allah Almighty and assert the oneness of Allah Almighty. He wanted Allah Almighty to get renowned in every nook and corner of this material world. He wanted to preach his monotheism. He wanted to reveal his bigness and dignity, to make the creatures aware of his providence, greatness, and kindness. Our beloved Holy Prophet never bothered his status after he arrived in this world. He came forward to introduce his absolute Lord of the universe among the worst, ignorant, and indecent infidels. The attitude of these worst and most immoral infidels towards the Holy Prophet was the worst attitude ever seen in the world. Sometimes they are saying nonsense. Sometimes, God forbids, they are calling him a magician. Sometimes they plan to socially boycott him and kill him financially. Sometimes they are physically torturing him. Sometimes they are getting him injured by stoning by the ruffians in the streets of Taif. Sometimes they are forcing him to be deported. Sometimes they bathe him in his blood from head to toe by sending troops in the battle, and even his blessed deeds are injured. But he seems to be teaching us that even if we face such backlash against our status for the sake of our Wali-ul-Asr, we don't have to worry, because this is the true religion. And if we must face all these hardships for the sake of our beloved Wali-ul-Asr, we must not be hesitant, but must do it joyfully, because we are by no means more honorable than the sacred beings. This conversation implies that we must forget our position during Nusra and while working on the establishment of the divine government of the Emperor of the age. And even if the work of Nusra is not worthy of us, we have to pass through it, because this is the original religion, and that is the requirement of truth. Patience and anger. Friends, Amir-e-Kainat took the sword in the first period just for his immediate God. He showed patience in his youth, even when it was time to wield the sword. Then he took his sword out in his old age, even when it was not the time to take out his sword and fight a battle. But he did this only for the sake of his immediate God. Once during battle, he attacked a Syrian. As the Syrian found himself in the range of sword, he asked Amir-e-Kainat, if Allah is one, how it can be proved. At this, he stopped his attack. The follower requested him to explain the reason behind this act, because it was not a ripe time for preaching as he felt. Amir-e-Kainat explained that the fight was for the sake of the oneness of God. If that Syrian asked him, it was essential to explain. Amir-e-Kainat's patience was meant for his immediate God. All the sacred family members were an embodiment of patience. Either it was the unparalleled patience of Kirdagar-e-Wafa, Lord of Loyalty, that is Maula Ghazi Abbas, or the unprecedented patience of Shahenshah-e Karbala, the Emperor of Karbala, that is Imam Hussain, or the unparalleled patience of Sayyid-ul-Sabirin, Lord of the Patients, that is Imam Zainul Abidin. Significantly, all the divine innocent beings are unmatchable for their patience. But where the patience of Kirdagar-e-Wafa, Hazrat Ghazi Abbas, reaches its zenith, the patience of Sayyid-ul-Sajidin, Imam Zainul Abidin, starts. And where the patience of his sacred father, Sayyid-ul-Shuhda, reaches its zenith, the patience of Sayyid-ul-Sabirin, Imam Zainul Abidin, begins. That's why when Allah has bestowed his attributes on the divine infallibles, bravery was not assigned to Amir-e-Kainat, but it was bestowed upon Karim-e Karbala. And where Shujaat-e Husainiya, bravery of Karim-e Karbala, is mentioned, his patience is not mentioned, but Sabr-e Sajjadiya, patience of Imam Sajjad, is mentioned. It was impossible for Kirdagar-e-Wafa, Lord of Loyalty, that is Maula Ghazi Abbas, to take the divine sacred ladies, clad in the veil of monotheism and prophethood, to the bazaars of Iraq and Syria, and in the courts of Kufa and Damascus. But the perfect embodiment of divine patience, that is Sayyid-ul-Sajidin, that is Imam Sajjad, did all this for the sake of his immediate God. The lesson given in this heart-rending incident is that we must not hesitate to take our modest ladies to bazaars, courts and public places for the sake of our Wali-ul-Asr, because true immediate God possesses all the rights over his subordinates. The accursed Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad had witnessed the moments when Amir-e-Muslim was taken to the court after his arrest His bosom was broad with royal glory in his eyes, and his neck was erect with the grandeur of Allah Almighty. He neither even formally greeted nor seemed terrified of his martyrdom. This accursed person expected the same exposure from Sayyid al-Sabirin, that is Imam Sajjad. But as he approached the court, his head was drooped, tears were trickling down from his eyes, and his waist was sagging. When he was standing before the throne of the accursed Ibn Ziyad, he asked that previously a Hashmi young man, though old in age, approached the court. He was full of grandeur, divine anger was visible in his eyes, and he had entered the court with his bosom broad and erect. He further said to Mawla Sajjad, "You are young, but your head is bowed. Your eyes are shedding tears. You have neither glory nor your chest is erect. What is the reason behind it? Could this difference exist within the Hashmi's blood? Because the same royal blood runs through both of them." Reverend Imam Sajjad, while weeping, answered that Amir Muslim was fortunate enough because he was not accompanying parental aunts, mothers, and sisters. He was not accompanying the sacred daughters of the Holy Prophet, so he could enter the court with his chest stretched out. Imam Sajjad further said, "I am accompanying the sacred daughters of the Holy Prophet. How can I enter the court with my chest stretched out?" May the fruit of the sacred family members' patience be soon translated into eternal cheerfulness and happiness, and their avenger may avenge every single injustice done to them soon. We pray to our immediate God to avenge soon the atrocities which the divine sacred daughters, clad in the veil of monotheism and prophethood, bore during their lives. Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Alhamdulillah wa shukr as-sahibu zaman, ajjalallahu farajahu sharif.